While there has been lots of hype around generative AI and foundational models, there are still lots of use cases for traditional machine learning which make it into production. Bringing machine learning models into production can be a struggle, and that's why Databricks back then created this project called MLflow, which is a framework to build production-ready machine learning projects with its tracking and all the machine learning lifecycle functionalities. To build a machine learning model within Databricks, but also anywhere else, you need to do a couple of things. First of all, you need to ingest and pre-process the data. Often you start with exploring the data first in a notebook, then you start your first experiments to build the first models, and those you would ideally like to track. Afterwards, once you're happy with the result, you typically register this model in a model registry to then version it there and use this also as the central place to pull your model from to do either batch inference or real-time inference. Additionally, you often also want to have things like a feature store and also capabilities to monitor your model in production to automatically, for example, detect drift and to kick off automatically a new retraining job. All of this is possible within Databricks and its native MLflow capabilities. And in this video, we will work on a computer vision project where we are basically fine-tuning a ResNet deep learning model to classify the severity of car crashes. So we want to upload a picture, and then our machine learning model should give us an indication if this damage that we see on this car crash is rather a small damage, it's a big damage, or it's maybe a total crash. This is actually the fifth part of an end-to-end Databricks project where we are currently working on to build a smart claims application. So if you would like to understand all the context and the use case, I would recommend to check out the other 4 videos. But now let's get started and move right into Databricks. Now we are here within Databricks, and let's have a quick look into our catalog structure and what kind of data we have already here. In the last parts of this video series, we have created this landing, bronze, silver, and gold schema where we ingest the data from various data sources. We built those bronze data tables out of it. We cleaned it and put it into the silver schema. And then we even built like aggregations and joins on top and put this into the gold schema. In this video, we will focus on this training images dataset, which will be the input for our machine learning model that we train. And then we register it into our gold schema. And then we will first of all do batch inference on top of this machine learning model, as well as creating this real-time inference endpoint to then use it in our downstream application. For this, we create a new notebook right here. And for the cluster that we are going to use, we will create a new cluster. And this time we will use a machine learning cluster as it has lots of those frameworks and libraries that we need already pre-installed. We give it a name and we create it. All right, first of all, we install a couple of libraries right here. And then we can already get started with, first of all, exploring the data that we have and then making some pre-processing steps so that we can then train the machine learning model. First of all, the data that we are going to read in is coming from the silver schema, and the data is stored in training images. So if you want to know how it did land here, how we ingested it from object store, then check out the previous parts of this video series. Now we would like to have a look into it. All right, there we go. So we see we have in our training images table, we have the path where the actual image is stored. We have some time data, we have the length, and then most importantly, in the actual content, we have this binary here representing the image, right? Here in the notebook, it's even visualized, but this is just a binary that we have stored here. And we have the label, right? So this is our training data set. Therefore, we have labels for the different car crashes. And we will use these labels to train the machine learning model. And in our pre-processing step, in our last part, we basically extracted this label out of the path right here, as the names always have the label in it, right? Cool. Now we can go ahead and first of all, we would like to resize the image. For this, we are implementing a small function called resize image UDF. UDF stands for user-defined function. And we do this because we will take as a baseline a ResNet deep learning model and we will fine tune it. And this model was trained on image sizes of 224. And therefore we need to resize all of our input images to basically match this preferred size for the machine learning model so that we can get better results out of it. So we create this function here. I don't want to go into all of the specifics. You will find the code at the end of the course in a Git repository. And then we are using this function and apply it to the training data frame, overwriting the column content and applying this resize image UDF function on the actual previous content. And then we store it in a new delta table called training images resized. And then we simply execute this right here. Right afterwards, we will also quickly double check our output table and see if it was created properly. And there we go. You see it looks very similar. The only thing that changed basically is that we have transformed the content to the proper image sizes. All right, now our input training data is ready. Now to train a machine learning model within Databricks, leveraging MLflow as the machine learning lifecycle management framework, we will create first a new MLflow experiment. For this, we click over here, click into custom model training and give it a name. In this case, let's call it image claims classifier. We click on create right here. And there we go. We have this empty experiment created. Now back in our notebook, we are setting the experiment for MLflow by specifying the path of the experiment that we just created. And then there is one more step. So we transform our resized images into this dataset variable to convert it into a format that our machine learning model can understand. And then we split the dataset into a training and into a test portion to use this for the machine learning model training run. Now we need to make a few more transformations. So even though we resized the image already to the size of 224 earlier, our current dataset still has just those JPEG bytes basically. And neural networks do not understand this. They work with tensors, and on top of that, our ResNet model that we are going to use expects the input to be normalized. So this is what we have to do as well. Therefore, we now do all of this right here. So first of all, we are using, as I mentioned already, the ResNet pre-trained model, which we would like to fine tune. And this is from Hugging Face, basically. And then we do all of those transformations that I just mentioned. All right, so let us execute this now as well. So now we have loaded this pre-trained image classification model that was already trained on lots of image data. Now we want to fine-tune it basically on our data. For this, we are loading it right here, and we are giving it the labels that we expect as an output for our classification. In our case, the labels are the classification of the accident severity. So is it a minor, is it a major damage, and so on and so forth. And then we can finally get started with the fine tuning, right? Now, typically in a more production scenario, we would also have this hyperparameter tuning step here in between now. But for demo purposes, we keep it simple. So we provided the training arguments here. And then there is one more step before we start the fine-tuning. So we basically wrap the model in this format that you can see right here, so that later on we can first of all easily register it as an MLflow model in the Unity Catalog model registry. And we can also easily then load it back and do inference on top of it. Perfect. And now we can finally go ahead. Again, I will not go through all of this code here, but essentially we are now starting our fine-tuning model training run here. And the most important thing is that we are using MLflow here to run this experiment. We also give it a name right here. And we are also logging all of the training parameters, so that everything is tracked within this MLflow experiment, so that also afterwards we can really easily understand how we came up with this model result. So what kind of parameters were used, what kind of data was used, the hyperparameters, and so on and so forth. Everything is logged within MLflow. And now we can go ahead and start this training run over here. And you will see it will kick off an MLflow experiment. So if we click over here, we see that within our experiment that we created earlier, now this run is being kicked off and we can already click into it. It will take a while to complete, but you already see lots of parameters that are used in this training run will be tracked here. And this is super important to not lose track of what you're doing in your experiments, so that later on, if you bring a model in production, you know exactly what kind of model you bring into production, what the parameters were, what it was trained on, what kind of model was used, and so on and so forth. And there we go, the experiment successfully run. And now again, to elaborate once more on the experiment tracking within Databricks, you see all those information here, right? You even see like the notebook that was used and much more information. Now what you would like to do is to register this model that was created out of this experiment into the Unity catalog within Databricks to first of all govern it also through the Unity catalog. And also this is the way how you later on make it accessible for inference. Now let's do this. Let's go back to our notebook. And here we register a new model using MLflow.register model. So this is registering it in our Unity catalog. And we specify the name. So we will store this in the gold schema and call it claims damage level. And we will also give it an alias that this is the prod model. And now let's execute this. And yeah, one more thing that we forgot here. So we need to specify that Unity catalog is basically our model registry. And this worked out. So now let's open the Unity catalog. And here within the gold schema, we see we have now a machine learning model called claims damage level. We see this alias that we provided with prod. And we see this is the version number 1. And if we click into it, we can also see that this was produced out of this training run over here. We have now successfully trained our machine learning model and we registered it in the Unity catalog. Now let's test it out. To test it, let's do some batch inference using this model. To do batch inference within Databricks, what you can do is you can register a Spark UDF. So we create this new variable here, predict damage UDF, and then we specify here that we want to use this model that we just created and registered in the Unity catalog. What we can do now is we can create a new table in the gold schema called damage predictions. And for this, we use our silver initial input images. We add a new column called damage prediction. And then here we are leveraging the UDF basically. And therefore we do batch inference using Spark. And now if we execute this, cool, that was successfully executed. Now let's check out the output table. And here we see exactly the same table that we had earlier, but now we have included the damage predictions basically, right? So you see the predicted labels right over here, and we already see some labels are wrong, some are right. And to get a better idea of how it performed, let's create this results table right here, and then we will plot a confusion matrix right over here. And then we will see how our model performed. There we go. So we see it did okay, right? We also did not provide that much image data. We did not do proper pre-processing, proper hyperparameter tuning and stuff like that. We just used this as an example. And you see here, it already recognized correctly most of the images. So it put 16 into major, which were actually major damages. 13 into minor, which were actually minor, and then also 13 into okay, which were actually okay. And we see here some problems, right? Where for example, the prediction was okay, but it was actually labeled as a minor damage within our input data set. Also, we can right from here serve this model now in a real-time inference endpoint, right, where we provide now a name for it. We specify the model, And then we also specify the hardware where this model serving endpoint should run on. So is it like a CPU? Is it a big GPU, for example? And then we just click here on create, and then we have a real-time model serving endpoint. And this we have already done. So if we click right here into this real-time serving endpoint, we see it's ready to use. And now we can actually use this endpoint here in our application that we're about to build to do real-time inference. So as soon as the customer is uploading their image for the claim, we can in real time classify it and compare it against whatever the customer is claiming the severity of the image is. Cool, so this is the first part, what we wanted to do. So our goal is to build this smart claims process, right? Now we have a machine learning model that we can use to classify automatically the images that our customers upload when they submit their claims for their accidents. But on top of that, we also want to check some additional things before we proceed with the decision if we want to refund automatically to the customer or if you want to do some additional manual checks. So one of the checks we do is, of course, this machine learning model. When the customer submits their claim, they specify how they themselves would classify the severity of this car crash. And then we run this machine learning model and compare basically if this matches what the customer is saying, right? If the customer is saying this is a major damage, they want to have $100,000 out of us, but actually our machine learning model is saying, okay, this is just a very small damage basically, and it classifies it as like okay or minor, right? Then this does not match and it would require an additional check. All right, and that was already it for this part. So we have seen how we can use Databricks to build very easily within the notebook a machine learning model, and most importantly how we can use MLflow to first of all to track our experiments, and also then how to register it in the Unity catalog, and then how to do inference on top of it. In the next part, we will see how we can actually consume this data by building dashboards to visualize the results, but also how to build an interactive Databricks app where we can first of all submit our claims if we are a customer, but then also for our claims company internally, an interactive app where we see all of the claims and we see all of the classifications and we see all the claims that we should further investigate and also the ones that were already processed successfully automatically. Thanks for watching and I see you in the next video.